So after Israel's attack on Iran and Tehran's retaliation, a wave of developments have been triggered in the West Asian region. So let's take a quick look as to what's been happening there so far.
In
the very near future, you will see Israeli Air Force jets over the skies of Tehran. We will strike every site and every target of the Ayatollah's regime.
All right, so that is what the Israeli Prime Minister had to say, that very soon we'll see Israeli fighter jets over Tehran. The Israeli Prime Minister has also warned Tehran. He said that the Israeli fighter jets have managed to establish their dominance over the skies of Tehran, and they will be able to strike every target of the Ayatollahs. Now, the Israeli Air Force has also put out fighter jets and aircraft that have attacked dozens of missiles that reportedly were being prepared for a strike on the Israelis, and the Israelis managed to strike them down before they were launched. It also added that Air Force aircraft flying in Iranian skies had identified the missile launches and, in a quick closing of the loop, attacked them and then thwarted the future launches into the state of Israel. Now, Israel's military spokesperson has further said that the IDF has launched attacks on several sites across Iran, keeping up with its campaign targeting the Islamic Republic's military and nuclear sites. The Israeli military has also said that its ongoing air campaign in Iran has now given it the required aerial freedom for actions from the western part of Iran till Tehran, where about 70 fighter jets were carried out in strikes overnight. And amidst the Israel and Iran standoff, the Indian Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar reportedly held a phone call with his Iranian counterpart Abbas Araghchi, where he expressed sympathy over the lives that were lost in the Islamic Republic. India has called for international efforts for a de-escalation of tensions in the region. The Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz has warned that Tehran will face some very severe consequences if Iran continues to fire missiles at the state of Israel. Now, Israel Katz further said that the Iranian citizens, particularly those in Tehran, will pay a very heavy price due to their government's actions. He specifically said this: if Ayatollah Ali Khamenei continues to fire missiles towards the Israeli home front, then Tehran will burn. All right, now joining us on the broadcast, we've got a retired Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Davis, who's a military expert and also the host of Daniel Davis Deep Dive on YouTube. Colonel Davis, thank you very much indeed, sir, for joining us here on WION. Now, looking as to how things have been unfolding in the last 24 to 36 hours, in your assessment, the fact that the Israeli Prime Minister has again just in the last few minutes come out and said that the Israelis now have complete dominance over the Iranian skies and we can expect more attacks by the Israelis. What is your assessment of what is happening at the moment?
Well, that appears to be true. In fact, because of some of the actions that Israel took with the agents that were on the ground inside of Iran before the battle even took place, before the first round of airstrikes started, that they disabled and destroyed a lot of the launchers and the other capacities with the radar, especially, that's able to intercept Israeli aircraft. And Israel says none of their aircraft were shot down. Iran says 3 of them. But even if Iran was telling the truth, that's just a tiny fraction of what's been coming on. So it certainly does appear that they have complete freedom, or relative complete freedom, in the air. So the question is going to be, though, what can Israel do? Because the longer this goes on, it is difficult to sustain the aircraft usage for Israel. That most people don't think about that. But these F-35s especially, they require a lot of maintenance for every flight hour, and it's a long flight to take that route to Iran. So how many missiles, though, does Iran have? And what they're claiming just hours ago, maybe a couple hours ago, is that they said they still have tens of thousands that are spread throughout their country. And they said these airstrikes aren't going to take them all out, and we're going to continue to fire them into Israel as well. So you could be having a situation where this continues to escalate even between the two, as you have like Saudi Arabia, you have Russia. Keir Starmer earlier today was saying that they're looking for ways to de-escalate, but right now neither side seems to want to de-escalate. If anything, they seem to want to ramp this up.
Interesting. They seem to all want to ramp this up. But looking at the developments that have happened, the Israelis have carried out their strikes. The Iranians responded yesterday, where perhaps for the first time since the State of Israel came into existence, the city of Tel Aviv was struck with these ballistic missiles. In your assessment, what kind of damage can the Iranian missiles actually do to the Israelis?
They can do significant damage. I've been warning about this for many months, that especially when you look at the 2 rounds of back and forth missile strikes in 2024 between Israel and Iran. Iran clearly demonstrated that they were trying to respond to the things that Israel had done to them, like the destruction of their embassy in Syria, the assassination of some of their scientists, military leaders, and of course the big one in Tehran during the presidential inauguration. They wanted to signal that they're defending themselves, but they didn't want to escalate. So they fired a lot of older ballistic missiles that many of them didn't even hit their targets. A lot of drones that they knew would be shot down. They signaled it ahead of time, so that but then there were some ballistic missiles that did get through, and they shot some number of their good stuff at some targets that were designed to hit, but not to cause casualties, because they didn't want to escalate, but they did want to signal that they have the capacity to get through the Iron Dome, to get through David Sling, all of those, the THAAD system, etc. And they did. And then they're made good on it. So they've seen that they can hit big targets, even the Israeli version of the Pentagon inside Israel. And you've seen some of the images. There's some substantial damage. A lot more could come if this continues on.
Now, one of the interesting observations that a lot of people, of course, have made when Netanyahu spoke a little while back, he addressed in English, and this is what he said. The friends of America are the friends of Israel, and Israel, he says, has been relying on the Americans, and he said that he hopes to continue to receive the same kind of support that he's been getting from the Americans. There's been a fear that the Americans under Donald Trump could get sucked into yet another war in the Middle East. How likely do you think that could happen, given the context that this is a war that is clearly escalating upwards?
Well, I think the real danger here is that the U.S. is going to try to just kind of move right up to the edge of direct engagement and try to say, we're not fighting, we're not participating, so we're not attacking Iran, but then we are defending Iran. We've admitted it, that we are helping to shoot down some of the missiles and some of the drones that are coming from Iran into Israel. We bragged about how we give them these ammunition, long-range missiles, air defense missiles, etc. So you can say we're not involved, but then it's similar to what we're doing with Ukraine against Russia in that war. We're not directly involved, but we're helping them out a lot. The question is going to be, how long will Iran allow that condition to continue without retaliating against our troops? And we have a lot of troops that are very close to Iran that they could hit with some of these ballistic missiles, and we have virtually no defense against them at many of these smaller outposts. So that's the big question here, is how much do we want to press the envelope to potentially risk having Iran retaliate against us? Because here's what you need to understand, and I think the reason why Netanyahu said that, they don't have the capacity to get into a sustained war. They can't just go after weeks or months on end of this kind of missile exchange. They don't have them. They don't have enough air defense missiles, and they don't have enough air offense missiles. And they don't have enough supplies to keep their aircraft going with the high intensity demands that it would place on for maintenance if we're not involved. And so the question is, will Iran eventually say, then I'm going to have to take you under fire as well? That would be catastrophe, and I hope we don't do it.
Right. Now, Donald Trump is an interesting American president. He campaigned on the promise that he wants to put America first. He wants to pursue America's foreign policy in the interest of America. Now, Donald Trump had made himself the face of the negotiations that were ongoing for an Iranian nuclear deal, but the Israelis carried out this Operation Rising Lion. In your assessment, do you think the Israelis could have pulled off an operation of this nature without the active involvement and support of the Americans?
It's possible, because they do have a great deal of capacity. But the fact that could it have been done without our knowledge, it seems unlikely. And especially given what Trump said right before all this happened, with giving the orders to remove a lot of our diplomatic personnel, saying, well, I think something could be coming really soon. I hope not, blah, blah, blah. But it was pretty clear that he did know, and his comments right afterwards implied that he had foreknowledge of exactly what the Israelis were going to do. So whether we were actively helping is a separate issue, and I just don't have enough knowledge about that.
All right. Now, my final question to you, Colonel Davis. This is based on what Netanyahu said in his address a little while back. He said that the leaders in Iran, in Tehran, they are packing their bags. The Ayatollahs are packing their bags, and they are leaving Tehran. What do you think Netanyahu was indicating here? Was he talking about a potential regime change that you'd like to bring about in Tehran?
Oh, well, that's for sure what they want. There was Naftali Bennett was on, I believe it was British television yesterday, absolutely saying that, yeah, we want to get rid of the head of the octopus, as he keeps saying over and over. And there is no question that they're trying to get a regime change operation in place here. I think that's absolute disaster. It's almost never works out, and you don't have any idea what would follow it. You could get something that's even more antagonistic to Israel if they take out the regime here, because it's not like you're going to kill all the leaders there and then all of a sudden the Iranians are going to be, yay, thanks, appreciate that, we're your buddies now. I just don't see that happening.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Colonel Daniel Davis, for joining us with that perspective there.
Thank you.